What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning into the Local Crown podcast, where we're going to teach you how to wage war on your competition and earn your local crown, also known as the top spot on Google. If you could go back and have a conversation with yourself before you ever started a business, what would you make sure that you knew and understood?
That business is about people and relationships. I mean, I learned sales from Firestone, but I also had a manager that really stressed people out. So that's kind of how I learned management, is to kind of be over the top, micromanaging, like talking down to someone like a boss. And I learned in my first few years of the Amazon business that didn't really work. Now, with the Amazon business, I had to call manufacturers and pitch them, but that was somewhat easy. Whenever you're pitching someone to make them more money, it's a little bit different. But when I got to FreeUp, I mean, the first year of FreeUp, it was pitch. Like, I would go on podcasts and that was my goal. Whereas now going on podcasts, it's building relationships. Like, I love building a relationship with you and other people that I've been able to talk to. And same thing with just setting up networking calls, where my objective isn't to make them buy a package or sign up on FreeUp. It's to get to know them and hopefully provide value to them. And with clients, whether they were super tiny clients on FreeUp or big ones, or partners, or someone that wasn't ever going to use FreeUp, I still wanted to help them in the same way. So I think that's the biggest thing that I've matured at over the years, is kind of valuing the relationships over everything else. Because if you have the relationships, everything else kind of comes. Like, you're going to get referrals, you're going to get talked about, opportunities to go on podcasts, like all that stuff kind of happens without you having to do it. But if you're in full sell mode, you don't get those relationships. And yeah, you might get a quick sale here or there, but you're kind of missing the long-term picture. So that's the biggest thing that I try to teach my young self.
That makes sense, man. Like, that's really what it's all about, is just the relationships. And one of the biggest things that we say around the Better Leads Academy is we all win when we all win. And I think that, and I feel like the way you operate, you very much like define that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a perfect example of this is I know you had to reschedule a few times for the podcast, and I've had that situation with me, and I've had people, because I had a podcast with FreeUp, and I had people that were like super rude about it, people who like didn't understand that stuff happened. And for me, it's like, it's no big deal. Like, life is life, stuff happens. I've gotten sick before, I've had personal stuff before. It all happens. And kind of looking past like what's best for me and and obviously that's a super small example that has nothing to do with anything, but just the idea that you never want to get aggressive towards anyone. You never want to put anyone down or put yourself in a position where someone looks bad at you. You want to do the best you can every single day. If you make a mistake, you own up to it, you make it right to the best of your ability, and you move on with life. And that's kind of my mentality.
Absolutely. And it definitely pays off the majority of the time. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you learned something. If you have questions, email us at info@thelocalcrown.com. And if you want to get featured in our publication, Inside the Empire, alongside John Lee Dumas, the entrepreneur on fire, Jayson Waller, the CEO of Power Home Solar, Sharon Lechter, Dan Caldwell, the man that started Tap Out, and the limitless man himself, Kwik, for free, then head over to thelocalcrown.com/become a contributor.